Hi, my name is Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I help people just like you get to the next level. In the gym by burning body fat, building muscle, setting personal records. Here on YouTube, some of my main focus is on developing winning mindsets that help you get the edge in life, in every area that counts. Have you been wondering how to treat life like a game? And in doing so, actually have a better life? It seems an ironic question, right? How can something that we value so much be treated like a game? How is that even possible? Isn't it more important to lose our mind as we play the game of life, as we live? Isn't it more important to lose our mind and be stressed out and just fucking not know which way is up and down? And isn't that a better way to live? It's a funny contrast, I know. But think about it. Some people may hear that, like how to treat life as a game, to actually play it better and get more out of it and get more meaning. Or should we just be stressed out and crazy and lose our fucking mind and take it so seriously that we cannot cope with loss? Right away what comes to mind is, if you look at the legacy that Robin Williams has and had, unfortunately, he ended with a very sad ending, right? His legacy was one of the most comedic, brilliant, funny people in the world. A person that had all of the material wealth needed to live beyond this life. And for whatever reason, they did not find happiness. And so if we can take a moment to look, like, what is separating those that achieve greatness in some areas and then still find suffering within themselves? What is this je ne sais quoi of success? What is it? And how do you know if you have it? About a year ago, in July of 2018, I came across The Warrior's Way. And I was simply laying in my bed on Facebook, and an ad came on. And Garrett J. White, the founder of the movement of Warrior's Way, started talking about having it all. And I was a little interested, to be quite honest, and excited as to how much sense he made. And I thought about it. I opted in for the email, and he only wanted $100, but I was like, is this gonna do anything? Is this just some bullshit right here? So I went ahead and did it. I went ahead and opted in a day later or so. And I was pretty excited. I just sat back and I looked at the videos that I could on the guy and some of his stuff that he was saying. And I was like, yeah, and I felt a certain sense of masculinity rising within me, actually. Because the Warriors movement is one for modern men. And I was very excited. I was like, wow, I like this guy's energy and the way he's talking and how he's speaking to my core, my heart, and the depths of my wants and desires. And I was like, yes, this is awesome. And so let's take a moment to uncover what I actually did find in this Warrior's Way concept. So he presented something called the Core Four. Now, the Core Four is something that is it's composed of body, being, balance, and business, meaning there's 4 areas of a person's life. And if you take a moment, some people are going to say there's other things like hobbies and stuff like that. That's fine. But if you really talk to somebody and you say, look, you have a body, hard to argue. You have a need for a career or business, hard to argue. You have a desire, need for family and relationships, balance, hard to argue. And you have a need for something bigger. And I started the conversation with Robin Williams because let's just say someone were to say, well, no, I don't need God, or I don't need a spiritual aspect. The reason I started with Robin Williams is because we can see how people that achieve greatness sometimes want more. But if you have everything, what is this more? And so let's just say you're still on the fence. My challenge to you would be to go ahead and obtain everything that you want. I've spoken often about how in 2012 I found myself having everything I wanted: a good body, a business, a girl. You know, I should be happy, right? And there's that word, I should be happy. And yet I was sort of on the brink of a anger and frustration, and just like frustrated with all of it, frustrated with relationships and how the whole game of it, right? So that was 2012. And here we are, you know, when I started the Warriors Way, it's 2018. I've already done inner work. I've already explored childhood wounds. I've already done, you know, Jordan Peterson's self-authoring. I've already done training with Brendon Burchard and Grant Cardone. And I'm gone to college. I've done a lot of cool shit. And I've even really made connections with my deep spiritual aspects of myself. So like, I've had good relationships, challenging relationships. I mean, I've had a pretty interesting dynamic here, right? So it's 2018, and a year passes by, and I engage with the concept of the core four. Now, I'm going to show you something. These are my actual scores over the course of a year, meaning if you look at there, it says 91.3%, 1,857 completions. And so I'm at a 91% right now, meaning over the course of over a year, since October 31st is when I started using this application to gauge an action every day for my body, whether it's working out, an action every day in my spiritual aspect, which is meditation, an aspect every day in my dating life, which is, it could be online dating or going out, or an action forward every day. So taking an action every day in these four areas, you know, recently in 2000, my father passed away in May 31st. You know, God rest his soul. And Dad, you know, I hope you're with me as I make this video. You know, I was at a table my company that I was with, Advocare, is being like downsized to a degree, and my dad's passed away, family issues, I have some minor injuries in my body, and even this woman I liked, she was like, well, you know, I'm going to go back with my ex, and so I'm like, and this is all coming at once, like any one of those, you know, tend to really trigger you to a degree. Like those are all going to trigger you to a degree. And think about it. Dad passes away. Company that you've been working with for 7 years to build for the rest of your life is now saying it's not going to happen. A woman you like is saying, I'm going to go back to my ex. And so like my life is spinning out of control. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. Like all of this shit at once. And so there I was at a table, and you know, I start, this visual thing comes up as to how the core four, these four pillars, kind of start spinning in front of my eyes. And it's in my head. It's not real. I don't see it with my physical eyes. But I can kind of energetically feel them spinning in front of me. Something like that, right? And I see how that is my life sort of spinning right in front of me. Like, since I've been tending to every area, they all have a pulse, regardless of what others say. They have a pulse. See what I mean? So let's just take a look at business. And so my business was growing. in other words, I had decided to go to another business. I still had a pulse here. I still had clients. I still had movement in the business because I kept tending to whatever existed. I was like, okay, that's still moving, but yeah, and I could see the root of the business development. I was like, even though the external world is going to say this, I know the complete story of this. You could say a tree. And then I looked at spirituality. I was like, dude, my spirituality definitely has a story, whether it was struggling with atheism, agnosticism, my Catholic upbringing, my path to meditation and getting deeper into connection with God, union through meditation, the relationships that I've had and the struggles, the wins, the losses, the intimacy, the anger, the frustration, the jealousy, like all of it. I saw how and I had gotten a certain level of understanding of the whole aspect of it with a certain smile to it. Like, oh, it's no big thing, dude. It's cool. And body being balanced, and then balance, business, and then my body. Of course, I think that one is sometimes that's one of the most developed of them all. My body, because it's my career to, as I said, open up this conversation. Is I always know where I'm at with my body because I've been obsessing about it for years. So I always know where I'm at with my body. And so I see them all sort of working together in front of me in that day. And to me, that was the gamification of life understood. The first level where it was not intellectual only. It was an emotional joy, a realization and acceptance of I was able to see the whole year. The tracking you saw, the 91%. This tracking, say what you want, external world, I know I'm at 91%. And that 91% is both a metric to push more, but also you can start seeing, regardless of what the world says, or even your own neuroses, your own anxieties, your own weird stories that you tell to yourself, you also you have a number to grade. It's grading you. And that's a gamification. It's gamified. And again, my life's spinning out of control at this time. Again, externally. Now, internally, there's a lot of stuff coming together, and that's that 91%. Okay, so I'm going to say that again slowly. So, externally, my life's spinning apart, right? And yet, on an internal level, this gamification has got me at a 91%. I think at that time I was at 93%, actually. It's dropped a few points. These triggers, these challenges have kind of thrown me for a loop, and I've been dropping my game a little, but I can now, with making of this post, for example, it's a good way that there's more of an uptick now upward. I'm pushing upward, that fight. But the target is being more clear. Now, if, let's say it's 13 minutes in now, if you can even understand this on any level, that's pretty good. Because I've told you about my first encounter with body being balanced in business and having 4 pillars to work on every day, and over the course of since July, be working on those every single day. And then that in itself be one of the main scores that I gauge my life on. Now, you could say, well, what about the failure of your business, Jacob? What about the failure of this? Or what about, it's like the death of your father, Jacob? It's like, yeah, those things happen in life. Doesn't change the fact that I can't build a foundation within myself, my own self-control, the things that I do control for sure, to empower myself, I can work on and gamify those things. And despite what happens externally, I continuously have this inner success inwardly. And that empowerment, that inner success inwardly, that domination of self, that conquering of self, is in fact eventually, over the course of time, going to manifest itself outwardly, because things are aligning slowly. Now, this takes a lot of work. I'm telling you, it's been, July of last year, and I'm barely like feeling the ebbs and flows of this and being able to confidently speak of this. So even if you were to start working on one of those areas every single day, you're probably not going to see the magic and harmony of it. You can intellectualize it, but when you can kind of smile at it and look back and be like, I see. Garrett said, in a year, you're not going to recognize yourself, or in 2 years, people won't recognize you, something like that. And so I've only been at it a year. And so I can see now what he means. It's a very gradual shift. It's not like these things are magic. They're magic only in the fact that they're compounding and changing us from within, and that change within is slowly leaking into the marketplace, into our relationships. So this contrast is something that exists from, if I think prior to 2018, I pretty much thought you had to focus on primarily, one area. And that is the typical way, focus on one area. So to focus on all 4 areas simultaneously a bit every day is a phenomenal idea. It's a gamification. Most men especially don't really understand this balance, and that's why I'm making the video. And so if you want to, you can use this app this is a customizable app. The name of this app, just go for a habit app. Like, I don't even know the name of this app. The Warrior's Way is pretty pricey, and it's a very big idea. But if you just want to take how to gamify your life, is take one action every day on your body, which might be working out. One day every day action for your being, which is prayer, go to church, meditation, balance. You could start online dating every day, or like go out, whatever, something. And then business, which is, again, it could be to make YouTube videos or to start a new business, whatever it is. Every day, take an action towards it, and then have an app like this that grades it and gives you a metric to give you an idea that's not judgmental, that's not, an opinion. It's more a numerical thing, so that way it helps you gamify your actual trajectory. Okay, a projection of sorts, or that's what I am. I'm at 91%. Regardless of what people say, I'm at 91%. And that harmony is like the whole magic to it. It's the way it works together. Okay, and that's the concept of having it all. It starts bringing this life of having it all. You could think that this is, you want to just think maybe spirituality is crap, you're only going to focus on 3. Or you might think whatever. This is sort of a proven science. It's not something that is debatable. And I think if you want to debate it, you're going to lose out. So that would be something that is your call. I'd love to hear your thoughts. The Warrior's Way is something that I engage with, and I practice the methodology, the philosophy. I listen to Garrett every morning on his podcast, and yeah, love the book, love his thoughts, love his ways of being, and we're all different people. I'm not Garrett, he's not me. I love that he's helped me access and unlock certain clarities and certain aspects and understandings of my being and my expression of self, and I do appreciate him for that. So this is Jacob Adams. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below. Peace.